Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Purba. I'm from Internasional. I'm speaking here as the leader of opposition. So, what do we want from the opposition side? First, we are going to prove to you all that all voices matters in this country, despite different background or occupation they had, and there's no need for this political general knowledge test thingy to channel their worthy voices in this country. And secondly, I'm going to now distress 4 points that has been delivered by the Prime Minister. First, they mentioned that our status quo is bad because the people doesn't have political general knowledge. Therefore, they create some kind of bad democracy in this country, which we find it very, very absurd. We find it very lacking of evidence. Let's talk about facts here. Even our leaders in this country didn't have specific tests to prove themselves right to be nominated, and therefore, us as the citizen, how dare you to say that we also have to have this general test, meanwhile our leader themselves didn't have this specific test. This is such an injustice, and all the things that you said before, you're going to create this general test knowledge in order for you to create this idea of justice thingy, but then in fact here, our leader themselves didn't have this test, but our citizens have to, which leads to the idea of this gross injustice system in our country. So we oppose this argument that has been mentioned by the Prime Minister. Second, they mentioned that it is so easy for her to say that it is okay to take human rights because of benefits 1, benefits 2. How do you think it is ever okay to put self-interest in front of the human rights? We live in Indonesia, where we live by the identity of the country, which is one of our ideology is Pancasila, and the 5th point of Pancasila mentioned that we need to have this fairness in terms of social structure and social opportunities in all manners. So by you saying that we need to take this human rights because it is okay to, in order to reach this real democracy, we find it very, very, very gross, and it is very bad. And bad is understatement, guys, because putting self-interest in front of human rights is already disgusting. Third, we are going to talk about the parameter themselves. They mentioned that they use this parameter that say we need to have this high education level to reach this real democracy. Well, their parameter is totally wrong. Why? Because in this country we can see that even the education system in our country didn't have this stable line, didn't have this, it didn't even have the same system. Like in some provinces they have high education system, in some countries they're still lacking of facilities. So how do you think that it is okay to say that we need to have this same education, high level background to have this rights to vote? So it is very, very ridiculous. And fourth, they gave us some idea from other countries, which is US. They mentioned that Trump, they told us that Trump have this persuaded programs, have this programs and vision mission that leads to people, and later on that people that vote for Trump experience some loss and stuff, and we find it very, very confusing because it's the same as you telling us that there's a brainstorm happening, which is in Indonesia. We don't believe that brainstorm happened here. Why? Because in our status quo shows that if you're going to vote for the president or for the political thingy, you have to be 18 and you have to have this identity card. What does it show? It shows that you're 17, you already mature enough and you have this rational thinking, and more importantly, you have this human right. And there's no brainstorm happening here in Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. So I just definitely tackled the arguments that was mentioned by the government side. And then moving on, I'm going to move on to my arguments now. First, as I said before, we need to have this all voices matter, start from farmers up to babysitter. Their voices really matters, guys, because even though they don't have this high education level, but ladies and gentlemen, we are. It shows that our country is more justice compared than to have this ridiculous general knowledge political test. And because in this test also it leads to my second idea, which is there even the hardest exam in this world we can still do crimes such as cheating. So if you're going to have this political general knowledge test and there's this possibility of cheating happening, then it's just the same, it's not going to solve anything, and your argument is totally absurd because it doesn't solve anything literally. It's just going to create more injustice to our country. And now we also think that our argument is very exclusive because we respect our ideology of our country, which is Pancasila, and it shows that we have to have this social opportunities, the same equality in all aspects. And by you saying that the government said that we have to do this general knowledge test, it's basically saying that you have your own self-interest and other voices in this country didn't matter, which is very gross in our justice system. So we also strongly oppose to all this motion, and we hope our status quo to still stands, to prefer to not making this injustice system from the government proposal to happening. So that's all from me. Thank you.